I'm a gust of wind. This is Into the Toad. What happens when we die? What if it's not nothing? How could it be nothing? If we just look at nature, all around us is this frenzied affair of murder, continuous slaughter. Everything is killing everything and eating everything. Everything's dying. Some life forms just live a few days, even less. Some live for hundreds of years. Some we don't even know how long they can live. Scientists say that they found a shark under the ice caps of the North Arctic that lives 400, 500, 600 years. There's this huge variation. What is the value of life? Does the complexity of the creature mean that life counts more, has more value, is more significant? Is the oak tree more significant than the acorn? Is the blue whale more significant than the fruit fly? If everything lives and then dies, it seems to be that everything is on the same plane. But nature doesn't assign a lot of value to these lives. Everything dies. There's no divine intervention. Whoa, this being is too important. This being can't die. Everything dies. And there's just this, as fast as everything's killing each other, there is this resurgence of life and everything's being born. Everything's dying. Where are they going? Could it be nothing? Could it be that there's just this thing that happened? This big bang. This, for some reason, things exploded. There was this little tiny thing, and then there's this huge thing that's growing and expanding, and it's full of stuff. And some of the stuff just randomly interacted with each other and became complex, and now we just have this thing around us with a variation and a variety of life and energy that is so complex, no human mind will ever understand it. That seems to be the point, in my opinion. You will never be able to figure out this web of life. And it's just one little place. We know we can look up and there's other places. Lots of them. The numbers that the scientists talk about with how many other places there are, they're not real. Those numbers don't exist. The number of planets, the number of stars, the number of galaxies, the distances that we are talking about. This is not reality. Your mind will never understand what 30,000 trillion light years is in distance. It's impossible. Is this all just happenstance? And then when your life ends, your last breath, your last, what happens to you? What do you think you're going to experience? Nothingness? Looking around at this web of energy, you think nothingness is on the table? Is it easier to think that? Does it matter? You're not going to be here, right? You're leaving. You know, you love people, they die, they're gone, they don't come back. You know that. You've been around. You see the cemeteries everywhere. People, like everything else, just continuously die and get born. They don't come back. Would it matter to you if you knew as much as you could know what was coming for you after that last breath? What if there's a part of you deep, deep down, far, far in that remains? And what if that part of you is what you are right now? We are, there is going to be a continuous flow of contradiction in everything that I say. Your mind has to get into that mode to get here, to even have the discussion. The variety of humans is staggering. The way people are, the different types, the way they look, the way they act, the things they want, the things they don't want, their capabilities, their capacities for pain, their capacities for pleasure. It's this massive spectrum on the one hand. On the other hand, we all are born. We wake up. We open our eyes. We are told things. We become older, and then we die. It's all the same thing. There is no difference between my life and your life. And yet there's a huge difference between my life and your life. This is a softening of the beach in order to prepare not to understand, but to accept. You are not going to understand. And in your last breath, you're really going to want to understand. You're really going to want to know where you're going. You're going to want to know what's happening to you. And something is going to happen to you. When we are born, we are helpless, of course. And there are people who take care of us and tell us who we are. Maybe you are beautiful, adorable, handsome. Maybe you are ugly. Maybe you are capable of anything. Maybe you are worthless. We are told by these people and then by institutions, schools, colleges, universities, friends, colleagues, teachers' assistants, professors, employers, supervisors, managers, judges, police. We are told every day of our existence who we are. We are never told what we are because nobody knows. It's the greatest secret that exists in humanity. We don't know what we are. It's much easier to say we're nothing. This is a fluke. Science has told us it's just something happened. Don't worry. It's just this random thing, and then it's over. And anybody who thinks different has an agenda because there's certain things they don't want you to do. So there's more to it than that. It's not a fluke, but there's rules and consequences. Severe punishment. Eternal damnation. How many generations of people have lived with that threat How could that be possible in this world? We can only look at nature, and nature isn't separate. It's not something else. You are nature as much as you desperately don't want to be nature. You're something special. And this body's just a thing. It's not even a good one. It doesn't do what you want it to do. It doesn't really work well. And all these other experts have to give you things to make sure that it stays functioning. But you are nature. You are an expression of the universe. You are an expression of life itself. And there's more going on here than what you're seeing in your daily life. In fact, it's very easy to argue that what you're seeing in your daily life is just an illusion. I mean, how much of your day is revolving around the fact that you are dying? You're dying. You started when you were born. You're dying. You began it. You're pushed off a cliff when you're born. You're going to hit a rocky ground and be dead. You don't know how tall the cliff is. And maybe a rock was pushed off the cliff next to you, and you're holding on to it, like Alan Watts says, you're clinging to it desperately. But, I mean, what's it going to do for you? It sounds harsh to say that the civilized world is living in a delusion, but the civilized world does not acknowledge what you are. You are nature. You are an expression of the universe itself. There is no gradations. You're not better than the oak tree or worse than the orca. It's all life. The life is the same and the death is the same. And if this death is just casually thrown about so haphazardly, well, how permanent can it be? Where's the rest of the life coming from? Where is the initial spark come from? What is the first mover? Okay, you say there's a Big Bang. Fine, how would I know? I don't know. That's what you say. Well, who pulled the trigger? What created the bang? What started it? Something. Can you really look around at this world and say that this is all an accident? I mean, I don't know if delusion's a strong enough word. How can we have entire civilizations walking through their lives oblivious, with that being the conviction? It's so simple and unimportant that it doesn't even affect their day. Their day is focused on getting more, becoming more, being better, getting better. More, more, more. There's an old joke that, you can't take it with you. It's an old adage about greed and some kind of comfort for the people who are poor, no fault of their own. Well, it's just money and you can't take it with you. Well, what if you got to experience what you can take with you? What would that do? If you went into the toad, into your death, and came back and took an inventory about what survived, what would that do for your day-to-day life? This banal drudgery that you're slogging through, just hanging on to that retirement and all that money you have on that screen, that number, Oh, you're almost there. You're almost ready for the big reveal, for the big, oh, I made it. You are in for a huge disappointment. It's what's happening. What will happen on that day is what's happening today. It's always the same thing. What's happening never changes. And like Alan Watts says, if you knew what happened yesterday, you wouldn't be able to describe it. If you caught a glimpse of what is occurring on this earth right now, you would black out. Just the awareness would overflow your receptors. Your nervous system would be rebooted. That's what happens in the toad. You are reset. Oh, what about all the data? You're going to lose all the data. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter. The data doesn't matter. Imagine all these important things that you've worked on and practiced and memorized and used to guide every step of your existence, and none of it matters at all. Just like it doesn't matter what they told you when you were little and what they're telling you now about who you are. You're ugly. You're worthless. You're weak. You're poor. You have no power. You have no capability. Or you're beautiful. You're capable of anything. You're going to inherit an empire. You're going to be a leader of business. You're going to be the next in a long, long, long line of government warriors. None of it matters. It's all there to distract you from this thing you really don't want to see because it's going to change everything. This feeling you have when you enter the dark room, maybe the electricity goes out. Oh no, oh boy. Now what? If you were locked in a room with no electronic devices, not an uncomfortable room, you can sit, you can lay, you can stand, you're comfortable, but there's nothing to distract you. What would you do? How long can you go without giving your focus to someone or something else? And what happens if there's nowhere to put it? You will, sooner or later, have to encounter your reality. That these distractions are distractions. These toys are just toys. So what else is there? Is this planet a place of boredom? Is that possible? Do the animals look bored when you see a hawk land on a limb, perched high up, gazing out? Does it look bored? Is it in need of anything? Is it just an animal and you're completely different? How different are you? Oh, well, you have this large brain. Oh, well, plenty of animals have larger brains than you. Does that make them better? Well, they don't have the same format of a brain. Their brain doesn't have the folds that yours has. Oh, I see. That makes you what? And that's not true, by the way. There are plenty of brains more complex in every aspect than yours. But we don't have to talk about that because that's a distraction from the reality, which is you're not nature. You're above it, outside it. This body's not special. These eyes, they're just eyes. In fact, you need something in front of them to make them work good. They need help. They need help from the pharmacy to be good eyes. You're told everything about you is worthless and it's all in need of assistance that costs money. And there's no majesty or magic to you or anything around you. It's okay to appreciate a sunset when you're on vacation or when you retire. You can picture yourself sitting in that chair with the sun going down and a drink in your hand, and you made it. Now you can appreciate the sunset. Do you think you'll be able to appreciate a sunset on that day? Oh, just magically? Now you're someone who can appreciate a sunset, but you couldn't when you were in the drudgery of your life for 80% of the days that you have. By not considering death, we miss the point of life. There is no life without that. They're almost the word living. It's not real. You're not living, you're dying. That's really the only thing that's happening. And you're not going to focus on that because the world's going to tell you to focus on how useless you are, how in need of help you are, how fragile you are, how something might be wrong. So talk to this expert and we'll tell you what's wrong and we'll fix it. You don't even know what it is. You just have this feeling that, well, something's not right. Well, that's correct. Trust your gut. Something is not right here. Something is wrong. You've known it your whole life. It's time to explore that. What do you need that's not you? What do you need that's outside of you? You need some shelter and some food and some companionship. That's all attainable by the poorest of the poor. So what else do you need? What happens if you don't need anything? What does that feel like? To know you don't need anything. That's what the medicine will show when you come back stripped bare and try to take an inventory of what's left. And there's nothing, but it's perfect. Nothing's needed. You might laugh at yourself. Why did I think all these things were important? Look at what's around me. Look where I am. Look at what I am. Let's talk about what we are. Cosmic warriors. Just given a playground. There's no rules. What do you want? Look at the way a lion takes a nap in the savannah. What do you think that type of relaxation feels like? There's not a concern. And if one of his receptors senses something that might be a concern, then he's alert. And if he has to fight, he'll fight. And if he has to mate, he'll mate. If he has to run, which is unusual, then he'll run. He'll act accordingly. But it doesn't need a prologue. When we rest, we rest. When we eat, we eat. And when we fight, we fight. This is the greatest adventure that could ever be in any universe. You're in it right now. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you are. It's the time has never changed. It's always been right now. It's all around you. How many people wake up in the morning and think that their life is over, worthless, wasted, wished it would end? I want to be in the mind of these people when it does end. I want to see them hold on to this thing that they don't attach any value to when they start to leave it. Then we'll find out if it has value. You will hold on. That holding on, that experience, that reaction is the center point of my life, that holding on. Because I do, but I know I don't need to. I know that is the battle of myself. That is the fear. I've kind of chewed through all the other limbs, and the trunk that's left is this fear of death, this fear of really letting go. Not you sitting in the bar saying, well, I don't even care if I die. I raised my kids. I'm whatever. Okay. Something's coming for you. That you won't be able to talk about it when it happens. There aren't going to be any words in this place. It might just be this tiny little you, helpless and afraid, confused. That's most of us. But there's nowhere to reach out to for help when this moment comes. It's a freight train, and there's no getting out of the way. You can hear it in the medicine as you inhale. You take the biggest breath you can muster. And if you're really into it, you've been practicing that biggest breath you can take. How long can you hold your breath? Get that medicine deep, deep down and hold it in as long as you can. Hopefully you're still inhaling when you disappear. But as you're inhaling, as soon as you start to inhale, it's physiologically impossible, but it happens every time, that the reaction begins before the smoke is even in your lungs. You can hear that freight train. You can feel it in the earth. There's no getting away now. It's coming. You don't know what it looks like. You've been there before. You know you're going to come back better than before. But you don't know what it is. You just know that it's coming. And you don't know how you're going to respond. But there's not going to be anything to hold on to. And the more you try, the more it's going to tear you apart. That is the final battle. And if it is your last breath, then it ends. I don't know the tearing apart, how long that lasts. I don't know if you can improve on that transition through this practice. I don't know. It's very possible that on my last breath, I'll be proven completely wrong, but no one will know it except me. I do think it's best not to go out screaming. This is the moment of your existence. There's only one, and here it is. And yet, it doesn't matter. It's the most important moment of your existence. It's worthless, useless, has no value, doesn't matter. Those are both true. What could it matter? Death is all around you right now. Go walk through the woods. It's full of death. The earth doesn't stop spinning. There's been mass extinctions on this planet many times. Science will tell us that almost every living thing was wiped out. But that didn't seem to change anything. Do we think with our chemicals and our bombs, we're going to, what are we going to do? We're going to break it? Destroy it? End it? Like how powerful do we think we are? One trip into the medicine and you won't be worried about the earth anymore. The earth is going to be okay. Life is fine. There's no concern there. It would be good if we could live in harmony with this world instead of pretending that we are something else. That would help for quality of life for not only our lives, but the lives of the creatures around us. It could be improved. I don't know of any lasting consequences, but it would be more pleasant. I don't know what's going to happen today, but I'm going to seek comfort and joy best I can. And if terror comes, then I'll respond accordingly. But I'm always aiming for what I want. And that being able to do that without hypertension and a stroke is the difference between experiencing death, knowing death, and not knowing death. It's the difference between being a single cell organism battling to the death inside your bloodstream right now and being the full creature laid out on the sandy beach, warming itself in the sun, taking a nap. They're both happening right now. You could be either one. You have no limits in what you are going. You can be that hawk right now if you want. Do you really think you can't become another living thing? Do you think you're that different from these creatures around us? You've looked in their eyes. My first introduction to something is wrong here was in the church. Of all the things that happened and that were done, they're saying that the animals can't go to heaven. Even at 5 years old, I was like, whoa, 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 what? They don't have a soul. What? What kind of institution begins their manipulation with that? Look at little kids with animals. The first thing that church does is to make sure that they can convince that child that love isn't real. That love flowing back and forth between them and the animals. It's a devious thing. And it's got a purpose, and there might be a noble purpose. I don't care. All of the manipulation, all of the power control has righteousness in their hearts. They're always right. There's always a bad guy that needs taken out. Don't trust your instincts and say, well, that bad guy doesn't look bad to me. That's not important. Do what you're told. You are a cosmic warrior traveling through the stars, capable of anything, and you're immortal, which will be discovered upon your death. Something lives on. There is a piece of you that isn't going to die, and that's what this is all about. That's what everything is about. There is nothing else. So it doesn't seem important to know what's coming at your death because you're still trying to live your best life. But there is a perspective shift, a melting of a perspective by experiencing that death. and then reevaluating what this life is, what you actually are. Because who you are doesn't matter. It's not important. It's irrelevant, and it's of very little interest to me. What you are, well, I can talk about that all day long. Because you're what I am, and you're what that hawk is. You are immortal and powerful, and you have a capacity for love and joy, and you have a self-limiter. You have an inclination to please and to self-preserve. And they get tied up in knots as you become a grown human. I have had to untie those knots through great effort to understand what my knots were. It's been the greatest adventure of my life, and it's been the most difficult and terrifying and challenging, and there's just not words for it going into those battles. To face what I am, to accept what I am. You may get a glimpse of this. You may see it and just receive this tidal wave of pleasure and relaxation that you have never had in your entire life. You'll be that lion on the savannah taking a nap. You're empty. It's all gone. You're light as air. And you're ready for anything. But you have to maintain that. You don't want to give that up. But as soon as you get back into the world, here they come. They're going to take it from you. And I say take. They're not going to take it from you. You're going to willingly give it to them, whether it's out of self-preservation or an inclination to please. You are going to give it up because you already did. And you know what? You've thought about it and they're right. You really have a lot of problems. You really aren't capable of doing this on your own. You need their help. You need their guidance. You need their whatever. It is life, this battle. It is what exists. Accepting the beauty of this world and yourself is the only game going. And it's the most difficult, and it's life or death. The toad is taking you across this line. This is not a gentle hallucination on some mushrooms in a pleasant climate. You have to go through hell to get there. Good news is you're already in hell. So it's a short trip. Bad news is it gets worse before it gets better. To really accept what you are means no more doubt. And if there are doubts, when you go back into the medicine, they will be exposed. It is a faith-based mission, is what it is. And it doesn't matter what you write down or what you say out loud or what you whisper to yourself. The words don't matter. The first thing that's removed from your existence when you go into the medicine, when you can begin to hear and feel that freight train coming, is language. It's gone. Language is us trying to label things and to manipulate each other, to tell each other things that we want them to know. Not necessarily the truth, but what we want to say. It's just making noises. If you were zoomed out as an alien looking in, you would see these humans encountering each other and making noises to each other, and then all of a sudden getting together or fighting or splitting apart or gathering more humans and building something. It's just these little noises, these songs that we're singing to each other. They have a purpose, and we're very good at this. Most of my life was devoted to studying this. Imagine my bewilderment on my first trip into the Toad when I find out that it had no value. And what really matters, in myself, there is no language there. There's no need for it. We're going into a realm that has no dimension, has no need for explanation. There is no words. There is no scope. There is no location. It's bigger than all the things that you think you know. It's impossible to explain this realm because you have nothing to compare it to. Your experience is very limited until you get into the Toad. Then everything gets cracked wide open, and you realize you can't know anything, and you best just accept what is, because you are not in charge of this in any way. It's already been established and set up and designed, and it's happening. And that freight train, it's as big as the universe itself. It is the universe. And you're it at the same time. But you have to accept that. You're not going to want to accept that. I've seen people just shake their head at it in the medicine, being shown the greatest secret of human existence. Here's the answer to everything. And it's beautiful. And it's pure love. And they shake their head and walk away and say, that ain't for me. I do not deserve that. And that's it for them. That's it. It breaks my heart to see that is one of the human experiences in this spectrum of infinite possibility. There's all different kinds of humans. There's all different kinds of way to live. The amount of joy is balanced out only by the amount of suffering. And it's extreme. In the Hindu world, there's a level of suffering by beings that have enormous stomachs and mouths the size of needles. That's a pretty common experience in our world today. You're never going to get satisfied, and you're going to keep trying. The passion to fill that gut is all-consuming and impossible. And the relief that comes from not having to fill it is a sensation that changes who you are forever. You will never identify with that former self. That just desperate on the edge of need, fear. What if? Oh, I got it. Oh, I missed it. Just this waste of effort to avoid accepting what actually is, which is what you would find in that dark room with no distractions. It might take a year. But it's right here. It's right here. It's available to everyone at all times. And when your last breath comes, That's where you're going. You don't need anything. It's perfect. It's so perfect that anything that you experience in this realm here that isn't full of joy and gratitude seems sacrilegious when you once you realize this. You're like, well, who the hell am I to not just be grateful? I mean, look at this. Look at where you are. Look at what you are. They take it away from you. But really you give it away. It's where we all start. It's where we come from. Where do you think these babies are coming from? Do you think it's just that diagram at the gynecologist's office? Do you think that explains it? I mean, what? What can talk about delusion? It's magic, and you're surrounded by it. You are the magic. That's how you got here. And that perfect little body, and that perfect little mind, and that perfect little heart. That's all still you right now. I mean, look at what you've done to it, though. Look in the mirror. Oh boy, you made a mess of it. That is for sure. But messes get cleaned up. Even if you don't, even if you just turn the channel and who cares, it's still coming for you. You can't avoid the rapture. There's nowhere else to go. So the whole point isn't the rapture, which is undeniable and unavoidable. It's right now. What is the point of being miserable? All these fingers that you can point, all these people that you can point out to explain your misery and your lack of confidence and your self-pity. You can blame it all on this string of characters. And the bigger that string of characters is, the more lost you are, because none of it's true. You can only point at yourself. This is the world you made. This is it. The medicine, one of the first things it will introduce to you is growing up. You can't go into this experience and come out and start blaming other people for anything in your life. You won't be able to get the words out anymore. It doesn't let you fool yourself for a while. It's with you long enough that it gives you an opportunity to step up. This is reality. I've shown it to you. What are you going to do with it? And that is the medicine. It's what you're doing for the 6 months after you get out of it. And you can waste it. There's no consequence to anything. I mean, the worst consequence we have is you're going to be murdered. Executed by the government, murdered by a bad guy, die of cirrhosis, whatever. None of it matters. It matters to you because you have an opportunity to really experience this right now. Anyone who's ever taken a small amount of LSD or mushrooms, and all of a sudden the world is just so glaringly bright and crisp, and they're like, oh, it's too much. That's real. You're starting to drop your delusion and see, just visually see, the beauty in things. It gets heavier when you involve the soul in that journey. When you cross over this line, I mean, that's why I think people say the toad is 1,000,000 times more powerful than LSD or whatever. There is no comparison. It's not a psychedelic. It's an anti-psychedelic, Eric says. But he knows it better than anyone. It's reality. Here you go. And if you think that's a simple thing, your delusion is even greater than what we're talking about here. You don't know reality. I know this because I didn't know reality. And I was a grown man. I was successful. I was smart. I had all kinds of adventures in my life. And I stood facing Eric at a low point in my life. This is how things work in destiny. Everything is calculated and engineered, almost as if it's going to be reviewed by a Hollywood movie critic. That is how fundamentally perfect things are. That's when it was introduced to me. That's when I had the opportunity and somehow mustered the courage to show up. And Eric said, "You're about to experience reality." And I said, "What the hell is this guy talking about? What?" And again, I knew everything at that point. Don't forget that. I already knew everything. And then, nuclear explosion. No more reality for me. No more understanding for me. I know less now than I've ever known, and I am grateful for it. I am nothing. I don't desire to be anything. I just want to feel good and behold this magic. That's all I want. And if that gets taken away from me, then that's fine too. But if I have an opportunity, I'm always trying to get what I want, which is inner peace, love bubbling over. That's the type of people I want to be around. If I'm not being bothered with having to survive and make money or deal with this or that, then that's where I want to be. And I'll take what I can get. And most of my time is spent wondering at my final breath, will I show up? I think I will. I am on this journey to prepare for that. This whole thing, after getting through the depression and the anxiety and the alcoholism and the drug addiction and the physical health and the bad relationships and the blah, 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 blah. You chew through all of that and you become a sound, reliable human again. And now the energy is flowing through you. Now you're capable. Now what do you want? Well, I want to be ready. I need to be ready. This is it. This is the universe. And when my final breath comes, it's just me and it. I want to be there. I want to accept the benevolence in the nature of things. I don't want to be afraid of it. I don't want to hold on to anything. Love is not about holding on. It's about letting go. Completely. That's what I want. That's what I work at. And that's why I'm here.